Hello, I'm John Furrier with theCUBE. I'm here at theCUBE's NYSE studio. Of course, we have our Palo Alto studio connecting Silicon Valley to Wall Street. This is part of our AWS Partnership Marketplace Series, where we feature leading companies in the AWS Marketplace, companies that are doing well, certainly with the Gen AI, and certainly as agents are coming on the horizon, we're seeing more and more activity. Zubin Irani is here, Vice President of Partnerships at Glean, company we've featured many times on theCUBE. Thanks for joining us as part of this AWS Marketplace Series.
Thanks for having me, John.
You know, a lot of buyers coming into the marketplace, they want to get in, they want to get out, they want to get the products. It's become the workflow for onboarding new technology. Glean certainly very popular in the enterprise. What is the marketplace offering? Can you just break it down? What is in it for the enterprises and the companies in the marketplace looking at Glean?
So Glean is a work AI platform, right? It helps employees find answers. We take actions, we build agents, and it's grounded in your real company data. And I think that's like significantly different than just general web knowledge. So that contextual layer that we provide is really what customers love about Glean. It's a horizontal platform, so it cuts across every department and breaks down those silos. It allows every department to embrace AI and get the benefits of AI while still tapping into kind of the company's knowledge repository and doing that in a very safe way, right? So we're secure, enterprise grade from day one, with connectors into your system that are built from with top level security, and our whole business was built on that.
One of the things that we're seeing in the marketplace is the sea of data. Enterprise data, anywhere from message boards. We see Slack as a huge use case. You got databases everywhere. Gen AI has been a dream scenario for people just to get that, what is going on in the enterprise. And then as they start deploying it, there's now new dynamics, multiple models. So choice of models, the horizontal scale, great, check the box on that. But now as we start to see agentic emerge, you're building on the search use case, find and discover what you're looking for. Now you're looking at other features. How does that context weigh in? What's Glean doing? Why is it important as you move from finding what you're looking for to how do I build with the different models? How does that factor in? What's new?
Yeah, I mean, look, we have this information overload. I mean, I think we've always had information overload at any big company, hence the saying, if IBM knew what IBM knows, I think that's really one of the big things we can now solve, this knowledge management quandary. We are getting information from multiple channels at multiple times, and companies are overloaded. So to be able to pull that information together, surface it in a very intelligent way, and then to be able to take actions on that information, I think it's extremely powerful, and that's it's a whole new paradigm of how we work, right? We are no longer looking for information. We are no longer manually parsing through information. We can now focus on the higher value, getting to the decisions and executing on those decisions. And I think that's the big transformation. A platform like Glean running with AWS, like what we do is we bring all the various models to the customer so we can use the right model for the right job. And you've seen that evolution of, where LLMs have kind of come from, where they're moving to is you see that they're not all, like they're good at certain things. And I think understanding where they're best and then leveraging for those pieces, I think is really another value add that we really honed in on, that our customers really love and value from us.
As a partnership lead at AWS, one of the benefits we see with these marketplaces as customers come in and say, hey, I got this big project, we got a whole transformation. Glean can get plugged into the bigger picture. So how are you helping customers? Can you give some examples where they're getting value in that workflow? Because you're seeing a lot of horizontal use cases. Great. People can go to get Glean and plug it in anywhere, but in the marketplace, it's an easy go-to-market opportunity, easy for a customer to kind of plug it in to a bigger project. Certainly that's an advantage. Where are you seeing customers get that value?
Yeah, we see it, you see that some of the use cases are going to be in go-to-market. Sales organizations are really leaning in very heavily into our product, and helping, prep sales reps for meetings, account planning. You've got, and then even post-sales calls, like how do we take those conversations and update your CRM with the right information at the right time, and then trigger off activities. You have agents that are running that are basically telling you what's happening with your customers. So you're proactively able to reach out and connect with them at the right time. in a very hyper-personalized way. So you see some of those use cases, are just very prominent use cases that drive a lot of value. And when I think about, there is we can automate what you're doing manually, and I think that's a big piece of AI. But I think the bigger unlock is the things that you're not doing because they're just too expensive from a time. They're too tedious.
Yeah.
That AI does for you, and like that is the real unlock that customers are seeing. That internally, as an AI native company, we experience every day.
A lot of that productivity gains, people talk about, cost takeout. Sure, that's not the main value proposition we're seeing revenue.
Yeah.
Productivity is transitioning to value. Unit economics is clear on the revenue. So productivity and revenue. Can you share any use cases on how that's worked? Examples of people saying, hey, I plugged Glean into my project. We got the agents up and running. They do the prep. They have all these cool things. Where's the money?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a very simple example, like RFPs. So we have customers, like healthcare customers, talking with a couple of days ago, and they run, they do a handful, like 10 RFPs a month, and their win rates are, 10%. But the amount of time for each of those RFPs could be 40 hours of work. They're able to go and using AI and agent, they can go find 100 RFPs a month now across the country with all these different, regulators and organizations that are looking for these solutions. So they're able to one, find more RFPs, and then they're able to process them in 2 hours, 3 hours, as opposed to 40 hours. And the quality of what they produce is better. So now they have more opportunities, they're more at bats, and they're able to improve their win rates. And that's going to ultimately, it's driving a massive uplift for them in revenue coming in the door.
One thing I'm seeing out there, I want to get your reaction is that in these workflows where agents are participating, having the multimodal capabilities is a huge deal. I was just talking with a healthcare organization, and they used to have to kind of connect records and send stuff over, connect systems. Now I just export to a PDF, gets into the system. I mean, it's kind of a shortcut, but it's not a hack. It's actually a feature. This is where the models are really kind of streamlined. Can you share your thoughts on this? You mentioned healthcare. That's just one of many examples where the multimodal capability is a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is you do have multiple types of data that a company interacts with through multiple forms. And whether it's taking a screenshot, dropping in a PDF, analyzing a spreadsheet, going into a proprietary database that you've built for the last 30 years, being able to take that information and process it in a way and then create a uniform understanding of all that information together, and then present back you with the right information or create the next artifact from that information is where you truly unlock value. And so we see that obviously, you can look at number of instances from healthcare, financial services, where we see customers leaning into that.
Zubin, talk about the onboarding, because the cloud native world, the marketplaces were established. Now you're starting to see the AI native world come in, and they're moving very fast. It's highly accelerated workflows. The cycles, time to value is shrinking. And so plugging in is very key. How is the integration? Can you take us through the onboarding process? What does it take? Just scope the onboarding piece for a customer looking to deploy Glean in the marketplace. What's it look like?
Yeah, I mean, look, through the marketplace, it makes it easy to discover, buy, and activate your platform. We get through procurement cycles easier. We're able to draw down on your spend commits. And our system plugs in from day one. So usually it takes a couple of weeks to get everything turned on, plugged into all your systems. You connect the core systems, you connect your get the foundation right with single sign-on, and then we kind of work through what are the top 4 to 6 mission critical workflows that we can then activate. And then you're really looking at a company's looking at a bit of an AI transformation, right? So it is a not just about getting a tool and a platform in place, which we do that very quickly. And with AWS, you can you light that up fast, and you light it up in a way that's secure, from from one of the most trusted companies in technology. And so the activation speed and security you get from knowing that AWS is, we've gone through the rigor with AWS to ensure that our platform meets the highest security standards. The unlock with the marketplace is it's that credible platform that everyone knows and trusts, that's been around for a long time, that everyone in technology trusts. So from a buyer standpoint, in a world of AI where everything is moving so fast and there's a lot of noise, being able to go to a trusted partner like AWS, knowing that they've vetted us, onboarded us, and we are, compliant with their very stringent metrics to ensure that, or stringent requirements to ensure that all their customers are protected, I think is absolutely critical.
You talked about a horizontal platform. Take a minute to explain who your customers are. For people watching, you guys have a wide range of customers. How do you prioritize that? How would you describe the customer base? Who are your customers?
Yeah, you go down the list of Fortune 500, and every other name you're going to hit is one of our customers. So we have penetration across pretty much every vertical: healthcare, automotive, retail, high tech, financial services. I can keep on going. And so what we're seeing is that the adoption is widespread, and I think what's more compelling is companies are leaning into saying, okay, we're done with all these little ad hoc pilots. We need to make an investment on an AI platform that we trust. And they're looking to Glean saying, look, we trust you. You have enterprise grade, plus you bring the level of innovation that our power users are looking for. We know we can build upon and get the ROI, get the, not only cost savings, but really unlock revenue and unlock growth and do things, transform our business to keep up with the pace of this world we now live in, which is astronomical.
Yeah, the pace of play is phenomenal. It's so fast. You mentioned pilots. Talk about the production workloads that you guys have. This has been a big thing. Customers and companies we talk to are squinting through, try to figure out who's in pilot mode and who's in production, because the North Star is production at scale. Can you share some of the things around Glean, production examples? Give people a taste of how far along you guys are. You're well down that road.
Yeah, I mean, we have deployments with and can't name customers. We have 50,000 employees that are using it at one of our customers, for example. So being able to roll it out and deploy it across 50,000 users, and then kind of working with various departments, they light up those workflows and figure out how to then take their businesses further. I think getting every employee access to leading edge technology to improve their work life, make them more productive, take those tedious, mundane things off their plate, allow them to take their creativity and power as a knowledge worker and just do much more with it. On day one, I think is the massive unlock. And then on top of that, you start working through the business workflows and saying, how do we rethink work? How do we rethink how we accomplish this? And we can 10x or 50x the scale of what we're able to do.
I've talked with Arvind, your CEO founder, many times around the enterprise search. You guys have evolved well beyond that. You got context. You got a better way of connecting that knowledge into the agent layer. Can you share a little bit of what's coming next? People working with Glean now, if they download it and connect it into their system, what's the headroom? What can people expect?
Yeah, look, I think the foundation of search is so valuable because we index your information in a secure way, and then on top of that, we can provide answers. It is the actions part, and we've always had actions. We're leaning much more into that. So it's now, how do you then do that work? And you do that with agents, and then you start doing it with obviously you've got the browser automations that are pushing forward, and we've got some. I can't give away too much of the good stuff. We've got a number of releases. We drop products every month, features, and but it is more about doing. And I think that's where the market and the industry is going is. Okay, I now have the right information. I need to now go do these things. Yeah. How do I make that easier and more powerful? And I think that's where you see the market moving. It's absolutely, we've got some pretty strong releases coming out there.
You guys have done a great job. You activate with search, and you got a roadmap right into the agent, which is the data. That's where the work's being done. So congratulations, very hardened platform. You get the data right, you get the agents rights. Really appreciate it. I know we got a demo here, so let's take a look at the demo from Glean, and demo not memo, as they say in the new AI world.
My name is Lewis, and I'm going to give you a quick look at Glean, your company's work AI platform. It connects to everything you already use: Jira, Slack, Confluence, Salesforce, Google Drive, and helps teams find information, reason over it, and automate what slows them down. There are 3 pillars: search for trusted access, chat for reasoning, and agents for automation, all built on a live, permission-aware knowledge graph that understands how your company works. Everything in Glean starts with search, and every result you see is permission-aware, tied to your SSO identity and access controls from day one. Under the hood, Glean builds a knowledge graph that connects people, projects, and content across all your systems. It combines lexical and semantic search with graph signals like freshness and popularity, so results are both accurate and personalized. So let's search for something like a product roadmap. Now, this is a document that is always living and changing. You can see here that the first thing that comes up is a pinned document. Now, this was pinned and it was created by our head of product. It was last updated about 17 hours ago, and you can see that it's trending up. And there were 63 views within our organization within the past 7 days. So I can confidently say that this is the actual source of truth. On the right-hand side, you'll see all of the source systems that I have access to, and again, only that I have access to. But what the best part about this is that in seconds, Glean pulls from Jira, Slack, and Confluence, ranking what matters most to you. An engineer sees design docs and PRs. A sales lead sees customer notes, same query, different context. And that's the foundation powering everything else in Glean. Now let's move over to chat. This is where reasoning is going to come to life. So I'll go ahead and ask, what's the current status of the Q3 launch? And what's blocking GA? Okay. Now, this is a very complex query. You would have to go to Jira, Confluence, Slack to see any issues to be able to solve this. Now, what this is doing behind the scenes is Glean plans its approach, identifying which systems to pull from, running multiple searches, reasoning over that data, and iterating until it's confident. And that's agentic looping. It's planning, it's searching, it's reasoning, and it's acting. Now, for the sake of time, I've ran this prompt elsewhere, and I'll show you the output. Now, what you can see here is the output is concise. It has citations built within it that you can click through and verify the source instantly, and that transparency builds trust and speeds up decisions. It even tries to understand what you might be able to ask next so you can have a further conversation with that. You can use actions to export it to documents or send it to a Slack. And down here, you can see all the sources. Now, that was our assistant. Let's go ahead and move over to agents. So agents are where Glean moves from understanding work to actually accelerating it. Agents automate repeatable workflows, summarizing updates, generating reports, syncing data, all grounded in the same trusted context. Here's one example I like to use, the customer 360. I'm going to go ahead and run this. Now, for the sake of time, I've ran this already, and it automatically compiles a daily snapshot from Salesforce, Zendesk, and Slack, pulling in insights like open opportunities, any dashboards that I might have that I might want to pull from Databricks for user sessions, metrics from Snowflake, tickets from Zendesk, any call recordings, key contacts, any open opportunities that I might have. Okay. Now, the benefit is that each agent runs with full governance and control, least privilege permissions, approval gates, and audit logs, so you get speed with trust. They can be even triggered by events like new opportunities or tickets, and perform actions like this one here does at the bottom, where I can actually update a Salesforce opportunity. Now, you can build them with no-code templates. So if we go into our agent builder, you can do workflow agents that are built no-code workflows, or you can do an autonomous agent that's built with natural language. And you can even extend all of these through APIs, SDKs, or MCP. So some of our engineers are using MCP within Cursor. So to recap, search gives you trusted access to the company knowledge, chat adds reasoning through agentic looping, and agents bring automation to life through triggers and actions, all powered by your live, permission-aware knowledge graph.
Zubin, thank you so much for coming on theCUBE. Really appreciate this part of our AWS Marketplace Series. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.